So what we're going to look at now is returning a user's profile when we hit this particular endpoint. And what we'll do, we'll go back to VS Code, and I'll just clean things up in my window or in VS Code, and inside our application we'll create another new feature for profiles. So I'll create a new folder and call it profiles. And inside here, first of all, we'll create a new class for our profile. And we're going to shape the data we want to return inside here. So I'm going to call this just profile.cs. And what we want in here is the properties that we want to return for a user's profile. So I'm going to have a property of string for the display name. We'll also want to send back the username. And we'll also want to send back the user's main image. And also their string of their bio. And what we'll also send back as part of their profile is a collection of photos. So we'll say iCollection, and we'll say photo and photos. And we'll also need to bring in system collections generic, as well as the domain for the photo. And then what we'll do is we'll add a handler so that we can get the user's profile and return it. So inside our profiles folder, I'll just create another new class, and I'll just call this one details. And this is going to be a query handler, so let's use our query handler snippets. And what we're going to return from here is a profile. And let's just bring in everything else that we need. So we need mediator, we need persistence, and we need system.threading tasks and system.threading, and then just quick reformats. And inside here we're going to need to take a property for the user's username, the username of the profile we want to get. So this is going to be a prop of string and username. And this is not just going to be for the current user's profile, this will be what we use to get any user's profile. And what we'll do is we don't need to bring in anything else to inject into our handler, and we can just add the logic for this. And what we want to do is say var user equals await context.users, and say single or default async, and use entity framework core. And then in the expression we'll just say x.username is equal to request.username. And then what we can do is just return a new profile. And we'll just map the properties manually in this case. I know we've got AutoMapper available, and we could absolutely create a new mapping profile, but sometimes it's just quicker and easier just to add it manually, as we are doing in this case. So I'm just going to set the display name to the user.displayname, the username equal to user.username, the image we'll set equal to user.photos, .first or default, and we'll need to bring in system.link, and we'll say x goes to is main. And this may be null, so we'll add the question mark and say URL. And then we'll specify the photos equal to user.photos. And what we also want to do is return the bio here as well, and say user.bio. I know we don't have anything for this yet, but we'll just set it up for later anyway. And then what we need is a new controller for our profiles. So let's go back into Explorer, into the API and controllers, and we'll create a new C# class and call it profiles controller. And we'll specify this as deriving from the base controller, and we just need an HTTP GET, and we'll pass in the username as a root parameter, and then we'll say public async task, and it's going to return an action result and return the profile and we'll just say get as the name of this particular method, and we'll pass in the username as a string. And then we'll just bring in what we need, which is ASP.NET Core MVC. We need system threading tasks and also the profile from application profiles. And then what we can do is just return await mediator.send, and then we'll create a new details.query, and we'll pass in the username equal to username for this one. And we're probably going to get a 404 not found, but let's just check anyway. And I've got the GET request for API profiles and Bob, and we're sending up Bob's token, but this method is designed to allow us to get any user's profile, and let's click send. And sure enough, we get the 404 not found again, so I'm just going to restart my API server. And let's go and test this again and click send. And this time we get 200 OK. And we get the display name, the username, the image, nothing in the bio at the moment, but that's fine. And then we get our collection of photos as well with the ID, the URL, and whether or not the photo is main. And the other ones should be set to false. And if we take a look at the other request to get Tom's profile, and once again we're using the same token, and this is Bob's token, and if we click send, then we get Tom's profile and no photos for Tom. And just to make sure everything's okay with a different profile, let's just add a photo as Tom. And in the headers, we're using the Tom_token. And in the body, instead of Batman, we'll send up a different image, and this time we'll pick Superman. And we'll click send. And this is successful, and it's already set to the main photo. And if I get Tom's profile and click send, now we get the image as well as the collection of photos as well. Excellent.